Hey, what's up, guys? Norcetto here. Thanks for stopping in. And welcome to my living room, which, I said we were going to be kind of freewheeling it the next few weeks. So, this is what we're doing this week. So let's jump into it. We made stage 1 playoffs. We're in stage 1 playoffs. That's huge. This is something that we've been looking forward to since day one. Is getting to these playoffs. It's multiple players have said that this is what they're looking for. Now, obviously, the season playoffs are a whole nother beast that we want to hit. But this is the first step. Being able to make stage playoffs against all the other teams is absolutely huge when it comes to kind of looking forward to our season. So, going into the weekend before stage playoffs, we had 2 games. We had the Chengdu Hunters and we had the Houston Outlaws. We only had to win one of them, arguably. There were some number issues that could have gone different ways, but we don't even need to get into it. We are in the stage playoffs after beating the Houston Outlaws. But to jump into the individual games, and I have been doing a podcast called Reign Over Me, where Shy Guy and I kind of go more in depth, more on like a map by map basis over these games and everything. So if you're looking for more in depth kind of looks into the games, definitely check that out. But in general, Chengdu, when we went up against them, it was they're a very off meta team. They don't really give a damn about the meta. They play mostly a DPS heavy comp with a Hammond tank, and it's devastating for teams that have trouble with it. Among on the Hammond and Jinmu on the Pharah were just taking us to town. We didn't have many answers for them. Now there were some things said that point out that we made some mistakes too. It was definitely not just that they were on their game, which they were. There were some things that Atlanta did that we need to tighten up. Our dive game did not look good. I think Masa actually ended up pointing that out on Watchpoint after the game, that dive is something that, it's been so long since we've had to play it in this meta that it wasn't good, and that needs to be tightened up. But we did give them a run for their money, and this is a team that took the Vancouver Titans to a map 5 and almost beat them. So I'm not at all upset that we ended up going to a map 5. It's a very bizarre team to face when you've been just going up against goats all season. But yeah, we did end up losing that game in map 5, 3-2. So that was rough, and that put a lot of pressure on the team to perform well and beat the Houston Outlaws on Sunday, which we did. That game kind of went exactly how a lot of people expected it to go. The Outlaws ran a ton of Sombra goats, which Dante on Sombra was really devastating for the team, but thankfully for us, that's pretty much the only thing we had trouble with. When Dante did not have the EMP up, there wasn't a whole lot they could do. Now, Muma did come out with some big shatters from time to time, and they did have some plays that went well, but for the most part, Atlanta, we played our game. They played their game, and when they didn't have EMP, our game was stronger. So that ended up going in our favor. I believe 3-1 was the final there. And, that got us into the Stage 1 playoffs and actually knocked Houston out. So as someone who was a Houston fan last season, but yeah, Stage 1 playoffs. Speaking of the Stage 1 playoffs, there was a crazy, complicated match that decided who we were going to be playing. Nate Nanzer was there. There was some drop plays, and even the finale of that event was called into question about, who was the actual winner. So that was crazy. But when the dust settled, it turns out we are having our rematch against the Philadelphia Fusion. And that's going to be coming up on Friday at 9 Eastern. It's going to be the quarterfinal match going into stage playoffs. Now, Philly, we played Philly in week 1. It was our second game. We had 2 games in week 1. Our first was against Florida, and we 4-0'd them. And then we went up against Philly on Sunday, and we went to a map 5, and they beat us. Oh, man, it was map 5, round 3, 99-99, going where it ended, and it was very, very close. So this should be a good game. Now, my thoughts going a little bit more in depth there is that Philly, I think, is probably not as good as a lot of people are thinking they are based on their schedule alone. Basically, their only good game at this point has been up against us, that they beat us. After that, they lost to Mayhem. They lost to Dallas, and that was in the same week, I believe, and people were saying it was because Boombox was out. But if one player is the reason you're losing to Mayhem, that has to point out that there's a little more to it, right? So, they dropped those games, and then they went and won a couple more, but it was against Paris, who has been crashing and burning ever since we 4-0'd them. And the Valiant, which I'm pretty sure that went to like a map 5, or at least that was a pretty close game, and that's Valiant. Valiant's dead last right now. So I think Philly is one of those teams that kind of, they came over from season 1 with kind of pre-existing synergy, but as the talent and skill of the teams has kind of gone up this season as they've been playing each other, it feels like Philly may have kind of started, skill-wise drifting more to the middle of the pack, and we haven't noticed because of their schedule. So that's my hot take on Philly. This season it's very much any team can win on any day. I mean, when Chengdu takes Vancouver to a map 5, I don't even know what to think anymore. So I don't want to disrespect Philly by saying they suck or anything like that, but just looking at the numbers and looking at their schedule, I'm thinking they could probably stand to be better for where they're ranked, and I think Atlanta will be able to, with the prep we've gotten over the last few weeks, some of the tough losses that we've learned a lot from. I think this is going to be a little less tight than that first match against them. So yeah, that's the map coming up, or the match coming up on Friday. Definitely tune in and support the team. Give them your energy. They're definitely going to need it. Everything it gets harder after that. So let's just set our sights on the first hurdle, which is Philly, and let's win Friday, guys. Speaking of the game on Friday and all the games coming up this weekend, if we can get through Philly, the Royal Family, which is one of the major fan groups in Atlanta proper, is planning watch parties for all of these games. Definitely follow them on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, whatever social media you use, and head to those watch parties. This past weekend versus the Hunters and the Outlaws, there was a couple watch parties. I was actually at the one at New Realm Brewing and for the Chengdu game, and then they were back at Battle and Brew for the Outlaws game. Not only that, I know ATL 6 has been planning a lot of watch parties as well over at Jekyll Brewing. So yeah, like brewery takeover, or for the Atlanta Reign fandom. But definitely keep up with them. The watch parties are so much fun. They're fantastic. I love meeting all the people. I've met so many cool people, so many new friends, and I'm gonna try to see if I can make it up for at least one of the parties this weekend. But yeah, if you can make it, definitely look into that. Definitely check it out. These are wonderful people planning all this stuff out. So follow all of them on whatever social media you choose. So moving on from the Reign, let's jump into ATL Academy, because Contenders Season 1 2019 is going on right now. We are on week 3. They should be playing later on today, as the time of this recording, against Envy, I believe. And Envy is doing well. They took down the Sky Foxes, and they took down Square One, I believe. Whereas we kind of struggled in week 1 against the Sky Foxes, but kind of bounced back strong against Second Generation last week. And big shout out to Ajax for that hilarious Lucio play on Rialto. Dude seemed to be having a lot of fun. It's so much fun watching these guys. And if you're not watching ATL Academy and Tier 2 in general, these are the up and coming players. These are the players you're going to be seeing in the next few years. So definitely keep an eye on that and support Atlanta Overwatch, support Tier 2 Overwatch, support the players, man. Definitely go out and watch that. But yeah, they are going up against Envy today. This is going to be a real tough fight. So tune in, give them your energy, and yeah, let's go ATL Academy. Let's go, guys. So that's the games coming up. Moving on from that, we have new merch up in the merch stores. Not only Fanatics, but Alt Esports has also released some gear, which I'm really happy about. There's been a lot of disappointment surrounding the Fanatics deal, and the jerseys and things like that. And it's been warranted. There are some issues. Fanatics did actually come out and say that, contrary to what I was hoping, and contrary to what a lot of people want, they are not going to have color matched jerseys that actually look like the player jerseys this season. They said it's going to continue to be the black and white that we've seen. So unfortunate, unlucky, but it is what it is. I still like the jerseys, and I'm still looking forward to getting it signed and putting it on display. And what better way to display a team jersey with signatures than a Atlanta Reign jersey display box? And that's just one of multiple things that they've added to the Fanatics store that are kind of outside the box that you might not expect. There's some new signed pieces. Dafran has a signed version of his mouse in the store. There are flip-flops, keychains, lanyards, koozies, like just pennants, all sorts of really cool stuff. And that's the thing about Fanatics is, and I've talked about this before, that Fanatics, as much as the deal with the jerseys kind of the ball was dropped a little bit, the strength in the Fanatics deal has always been the variety and scope of the stuff that they can provide. And the fact that they're adding all this stuff in now mid-stage and it's been kind of continuously being added is exactly what I was hoping for. This is the kind of gear store where, you might check one week and just randomly have something you were looking for or something you would have never expected. So I really applaud Fanatics for that, as much as there are the other issues. I think that, again, in the long run, I do think this deal is going to be net positive for everyone. So, but yeah, that's kind of a good overview of what's been going on the last couple weeks. Now, as far as more player and media content and stuff like that, Rain Rising has been an ongoing series that's been being put out by the team that's been, fantastic. Week in, week out, every Thursday, we're getting really, really good content from Jarrell and the content team regarding insights and philosophies behind the team, the decisions, how the players are feeling. This past week, we got to hear from Kasaurus, who, because he's been on the last few, and I can't get enough. He's really, really insightful, is very upfront about things that need to be worked on and what's been going on. So I really enjoy seeing him and hearing him in front of the camera. We also got to hear from Pokepo, which I'm a big fan of Pokepo. I main tanks have a special place in my heart. It was coming off that Gladiators loss, so obviously it must have been rough for him. They were really big about focusing his shield down, and I'm sure he felt a little hopeless at times, but helpless at times. But yeah, I enjoy seeing all of the players in front of the camera and kind of getting to know them more and more. I'd love to see even more people in front of the camera. I'd love to see, Dong Men sit down and give us insights into how the communication is going and between Eastern and Western players. That'd be great. That was a concern, in the preseason, and something that has been mostly kind of quelled since then. So I'd love to hear what he thinks about all of that and the developments there. I'd love to see Seffi sit down. Any interview I've ever seen with Seffi has been wonderful. He's very well spoken and really kind of thinks about what he's going to say before he says it. Very insightful guy. I'm sure he's very busy right now, but yeah, just anyone we can get in front of the camera. I love learning and hearing about anyone on the team, and yeah, the content's killer. I love what's coming out with these Rain Rising episodes. If you haven't been following that, I mean, go now, pause this, go watch it. It's some of the best content in the league coming out right now as far as like insights into the team you're supporting. The Rain are killing it. There's also been a lot of interviews with other players. Dogman has been all over the place, being interviewed by Thibbledork with the Game Haus and Action Esports, and just he's been all over the place. I love seeing someone with that much hype and drive to really be involved. He also did sat down with Cruz and talked to him about the Cruz as a feeder incident on Watchpoint, and that. What was really said there, my feelings on that banter are that it is a good thing. I actually really like, there's a fine line between banter and, actual toxicity and BM. And I'm not going to discount anyone who says that they don't really like it. That whole gray area is very tumultuous, and it's something that is very subjective. But I think that the net benefit of things like that are getting people really into it, getting the hype levels up. I mean, Dogman, when he's on stage, is so energetic and so into the game, and he wants to get the crowd involved, and he wants to get the other players involved, and banter like that really, it can help those stories, and it can help really drive narratives that make the league more fun. And even Cruz, all he really had to say about it was, if you're going to throw shade out, just expect it to come back. And, I think Dogman understood that and agrees with that. And I think he's been taking it well, because Dogman is a feeder. But yeah, it was really good to see that insight. Dogman, he's been all over the place, and just a really force for good when it comes to getting the team insights out to the public and journalists and everything like that. Masa also did some great stuff with the Watchpoint crew. He was on the desk answering questions. He did one of the All Access Pass interviews, so definitely check that stuff out. And it's just great to kind of hear those insights from players. On top of that, Dafran has actually come out and had some great streams in the last week or so. And if you're not watching Dafran, you're probably missing out on why he's such a big personality and why so many people like him. So what you've been missing is it's so good. It's so good, guys. But yeah, that's all I got this week, guys. Definitely follow all the team on social media. Go watch them on Twitch. A lot of great stuff happening there. I can't wait for the new episode of Rain Rising. Make sure to show up and support ATL Academy in their fight against Envy, and show up either online watching, or if you can, at a watch party on Friday night for the game against Philadelphia. It is going to be a huge rematch in this fledgling rivalry we've got going. But yeah, let's see how this Stage 1 playoff shakes out, and I'll talk to you guys when it's over. All right.